happiness or unhappiness is not the opposite of happiness. This is really something essential to understand. We normally think that happiness and unhappiness are just two states that alternate with one another, and we basically want more of the happy state than we want of the unhappy state. And even in some contemporary non-dual expressions, we hear that awareness is in the background, and it accepts happiness and unhappiness equally. To awareness, it's equally open both to the experience of happiness and to the experience of unhappiness, as if happiness were like hot and cold, kind of different degrees of the same thing, opposites. This is a misunderstanding. To say that unhappiness is the opposite of happiness is like saying the image is the opposite of the screen. It's not. If you have a white image on a screen and a black image on a screen, we can say the white image is the opposite of the black image. The white image is light, the black image is dark. They are opposites. But it's not, happiness and unhappiness are not like that. The experience of happiness is the experience of the screen. The experience of unhappiness is the veiling of the screen. They are not opposites. That's why it's called unhappiness. Again, we've seen this so often this weekend, that concealed in language, there's a very deep understanding. Suffering is called unhappiness, or misery is called unhappiness. Happiness is not called unmisery. Why not? It's because happiness is here first. It's the natural state, the knowing of our own being as it is. Just the simple knowing of our own being as it is, which everyone experiences as I am, or I am aware. That is the experience of peace or happiness. By happiness, I don't mean a gleeful, you don't have to be laughing. I just mean peace, fulfillment. That is the simple knowing of our own being. When we seem to overlook what we essentially are by believing that we are a fragment, a separate self, what we essentially are at that moment seems to be veiled. We cease being ever-present, unlimited awareness, and we seem to become a temporary limited self. Now, with that veiling of ourself, the peace, the contentment, the fulfillment that is inherent in the knowing of our own being is apparently veiled. It's veiled in the same way that when an image appears on the screen, the image seems to veil the screen. It doesn't really, but it seems to. We think, oh, I'm no longer seeing a screen, I'm seeing a landscape. The experience of unhappiness is the veiling, the apparent veiling of happiness. So unhappiness is the apparent veiling of happiness, but never the absence. There is never the absence of happiness. If happiness was absent, we wouldn't know what to long for. How do we know in the deepest depression what to long for? Because the memory, not the memory from the past, but the memory that lives in each of our hearts, the memory of happiness remains. We know that that is our birthright, peace. That's why we long for it. If it's veiled, we long for it.